All right, brothers, what up, though? I wanted to take a look at a episode of The Wire. For those who have not seen it, it is one of the greatest shows of modern TV history, especially during that era with, of course, The Wire and The Sopranos. This is an episode I want to cover about colorism. I've said before that colorism is just another symptom that plagues our people. To the Caucasian, to the Asian, to the Hispanic, we are just niggas to them anyway. I have no idea why we come at each other based on our skin shades, our tones, our hues. It makes no sense to me. We're all beautiful. We really are. We are the best. Well, in this episode, we focus on a light skinned sister who's coming at a dark skinned sister. And there is some bullying, but it's actually really just, the girl really, the light skinned girl, she's not really good to anybody, really. Either way, for those who haven't seen this, this is the first day of class for the Corner Boys, who this series actually focuses on during this season. I think this is season 4. And Prez, the Caucasian teacher, is not a police officer anymore. He is a teacher. And of course, he's teaching in Baltimore, the Corner Boys. I'll let the video play and I'm going to commentate throughout.
Today being the first day, let's have some fun. I'm going to throw you a little math puzzle, see if I can get you thinking on your feet. Andre is leaving Baltimore.
Mr. Pricewell, I need to change my seat because this boy has smells like a garbage can.
All right, you need to work a little on your compassion skills.
Yeah, he needs to work a little on his soap and water skills.
This is the light-skinned sister in question. She's light-skinned. Her hair is a little less coarse. It's a little bit more manageable, as you can see here. You can see here her earrings, and she has on a necklace. And later on, you'll notice that she also has on a watch. Now, she has a little bit more money than the rest of the kids in school, or the rest of the kids in this class, and she knows it. She knows it.
All right, like I was saying, my friend Andre is leaving Baltimore. He's going 60 miles an hour.
Hey, what side of Baltimore? East or west?
Right. It doesn't make any difference. That's what you.
This dark-skinned sister is the other girl who is going to have a conflict with the light-skinned sister. Earlier, their brother or the teacher asked a question about moving to Baltimore, going 60 miles an hour. And one of the students said, east or west. He said east or west. Let's see what happens.
East. West. Okay?
These are just children, but where do they get it from? They get it from the older versions of themselves. And notice that I didn't say adults. I said the older versions of themselves. The brothers and sisters that are on the street and on the corner, as we all hear all the time, oh man, you got to check in with me before you come to my city. This is my hood. Don't nothing go down here without me knowing about it first. That shit is ass. That shit is weak as hell. Our brothers that's in the streets and these gangs think that the city belongs to them. The people of the city of Baltimore, of Philly, of Jersey, or New York, or Texas, Houston, wherever, they do not pay you taxes. They do not pay them taxes. That is not your town. The reason they say it is because our people do not know our history. We just don't. When you ask a Hispanic or say a Hispanic is Puerto Rican, they'll correct you and say, no, I'm Mexican or I'm Cuban. They will check you every time. Why? Because they know who they are. That's why. We don't. You ask a brother where he's from, what does he say? Philly, New York, Houston, Brooklyn, LA. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. That's just where they were born. It seems that every other demographic has their own history intact. Again, they will tell you that they're Cambodian or Laotian or Cantonese or Malaysian or Chinese or Japanese or Filipino. We don't. What do we say? We're black. What does that mean? I don't know. Black is just a color. I've said before, black is just a color. If you were to get a map or a globe or an atlas, you will not be able to find black on there anywhere. Black is not a country. Black is not a continent. Black is not a state or city. Black is not a history. When they talk about Black History Month, I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. No one in history was black. Black is not a language. Either you speak English or, Spanish, French. Black is just a color. The reason we have black is because it's always in comparison or juxtaposition to white. That's just a fact. Which is why everyone is white now. Before they weren't. Whether it was the Italians or the Irish, everyone is white now. Everyone benefits from us. Everyone. Either way, East Baltimore or West Baltimore does not matter. But our people need it to because we have no real history. That's why.
Okay. And he's going to Philadelphia.
Man, Philly's ass.
So you think Allen Iverson is ass?
Okay, stop.
Yo, he only played for them. He ain't from there.
Hey, I never played for the Sixers no matter how much they pay me.
Nigga, they pay your ass to go away.
Enough.
And that boy with the afro was Mad Cap. If the Philly paid you $5 million a year, you would play.
Okay, Andre's leaving Baltimore, West Baltimore, traveling 60 miles per hour. He's going to Philadelphia, which is 80 miles away.
Hey, you driving on I-95, you need to watch out for the state police. They be profiling niggas.
You see this light-skinned sister is flashing her watch using the sun's glare, using the glare off the watch to shine in this dark-skinned sister's face. This is what I'm talking about when I say colorism. This light-skinned sister believes that she has some level of superiority over this dark-skinned girl for maybe a multitude of reasons. I said before that her hair is, kind of slicked back. It's obviously more tamed or manageable. You can see her little gold studs in her ears. You can see her necklace and, of course, her watch. She's a little bit more put together, better. When you see the dark-skinned girl, her shirt is a little bit more, wrinkled, and her hair is kind of all over her head. This light-skinned girl believes that she is better.
He didn't say Andre was black, yo.
Come on, Randy Andre from the West Side.
Hey,
Yeah, you know he black. You know he black.
Is he traveling? Mr. Firstball, you say he traveling in the car? Is he traveling? Or is he like in the back?
The dark-skinned sister is definitely getting upset. I would too. The light-skinned girl is provoking her, and she's getting a rise out of this dark-skinned sister here.
I see.
Be very careful with that. You don't know anyone. You just don't. And I've said before, you can actually catch a good, decent, clean, pure, good, clean-hearted person on the wrong day. Be very careful with this, brothers.
You know what? Fun is fun.
I'm not gonna lie, the arrogance of the light skinned girl, like you flashing your watch and the glare in her eyes while she's trying to pay attention, and the light skinned girl is actually upset too. Makes no sense. But that's the arrogance and the entitlement that this light skinned girl has probably had, um, growing up. Again, she probably has just a little bit more money. She probably don't come from money because of where she actually is. She's still in the same class as everybody else, but she probably does have just a little bit more money than the rest of the kids in class. And she knows it and she's showing it off.
Everything okay in here?
Every time the teacher or the black female principal comes in, all the kids know exactly how to act. Why is that? Because their mother is at home. That's why. Now, if we lived in a parallel universe and the women were removed from the home, whether they were in jail or, killed by the police, or the majority of so-called black women were part of the gangs, and the men were in the home, it was more single fathers, taking care of the children. And there were Caucasian white men, of course, Caucasian men who were teaching majority of the classes in the schools. And the white women were going off to, other jobs of whatever that may be. Society would look a lot different. Not better, because in my view, according to scripture as well, it just takes two. A functional mother and a functional father in the home. And even then you're going to have issues. But that is the proper way. It just is. But the reason that they sat down immediately, they got pencils in hand and acting like they're doing stuff in class, is because their mother is the one providing for them at home. So when the mother's voice speaks, it resonates to the child. And when the principal's voice, when they hear her, it resonates to the child as well. It reminds them of their mother, whom they love, whom they respect, who provides for them. And of course, again, does not play. A lot of women say things like, I will be feminine or I will be submissive to the man that comes along. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I can't argue against her. Why? Because the woman has been doing it alone for a long time. The so-called black woman, that is. That's why this sister here doesn't really look feminine. She has kind of, a little attitude, and she has to be a little bit more harsh or coarse. It just is what it is. She has to be a little rough around the edges. She can't be in her natural femininity. Why? Because the man is not where he's supposed to be. The so-called black man, I mean. So she has to step up and do it herself. You hear sisters say ignorant or asinine things like, I have to be the mother and the father. I don't like that they say that, but I can't argue against it. She believes that she has to do both roles. In my view, you can't do that. Neither could a man. I'm just saying, all you can do is be the best mother you can be. That's it. You can't and won't ever be a father. The father is essential. He cannot be replaced. He cannot be replaced, but they try very hard to do so, whether that is, the judge or the police or WIC or welfare. They try to replace the man in every way they know how without giving the opportunity to men, specifically so-called black men. Either way, it is what it is. I like how they all have their head down. All right, brothers, I fast forwarded just a bit and I'm at the end of the episode. Let's see what occurs.
So, if a rocket travels, say, 1,000 miles an hour, how far does it go in an hour?
It looks like Mr. Prez realized that he started way too advanced. He said, if a rocket is going 1,000 miles an hour, how far does it go in 1 hour? Well, that's obvious. So if he's saying that, he knows that these children are behind. It just is what it is. I can't blame our children for not being on the reading level that they should be on because of poverty, of course, because the mother or father is not around, because they're not reading like they should be. They're playing video games and they're on the phone, they're on tablets, at least now in this era. But here in Baltimore, on the show anyway, their dads are gone. Everyone is getting shot up or ODing. They're going to funerals. It's a lot for a child to, comprehend, let alone come to school or go in class and learn about rockets. They don't care. They don't care.
Darnell.
And it's not really relevant or pertinent to them. I'm on record of saying that school needs to be overhauled, but the school is run by the Caucasian and it's all about being indoctrinated. Most of the stuff that we learned in school, we know that we don't use on a day-to-day basis. Outside of reading and, honestly, maybe elementary math, we don't use nothing. They definitely should have like every class teaching about taxes and the economy and maybe how to start a business or run a business. These things matter, not, Anyway, not to digress.
Shaquan?
As far as it runs, I mean, it's a rocket ship, right?
Yo, this dark-skinned sister is heated. She is hot. She rubbing her hands together like Birdman. It's about to go down.
Randy, is this a trick question? Nope. 1,000 miles? On the money.
If you can see here, she has what you call an X-Acto knife or one of those push-up razor blades. She's pissed. You can tell just a little bit that it is extruded a little bit. And anyway, it's unfortunate.
Surprise, though, I was going to say that.
She just got pissed off. The light-skinned girl has been feeling herself the entire episode. She's smiling, she's giggling, she's having a good time talking to her friends in the back of the class, and this dark-skinned sister has been tormented and teased by this light-skinned sister, Shaquan, the entire episode.
Call 911 and get the nurse. Everybody in your seat. Just lay still. Just lay still.
Just keep putting pressure on it. You're doing fine. You're fine. Just hold on.
Let me rewind it back.
On the money.
Oh, Mr. Presbo, I was going to say that.
Notice that she went straight for her face. This was causing all the jealousy or the envy. It just is what it is. She didn't go for her throat. She didn't stab her. She wasn't trying to kill her. She wanted to humble her. And in my view, I believe that she did the job. This isn't right. It isn't. Neither one of these girls should be in this situation at all. But I get it. She had the money. Allegedly, she had the hair. And she had the face. She had the skin. Colorism is one of the biggest things plaguing our community. To every other demographic, we just a bunch of niggas. To us, we are divided by our skin color, our shade, our tones, our hues. Why? I don't know. We're all the same. All we have to do is come together and organize, and we can take over. And I do mean that. But notice that she did cut her face because the dark-skinned sister believed that she was pretty. She was. But it's really her arrogance that she wanted to take down a notch. No doubt about it. And it looked like she cut the other side of her face too here. Yeah, she did. It is what it is. This light-skinned sister Shaquan was humbled. Hopefully. Most likely she's humbled, and, I know it's it's not right, but it is what it is. If people are old enough to remember on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air how we had the dark-skinned Aunt Viv, and later on we got the light-skinned Aunt Viv. On Family Matters, we had a dark-skinned Harriet. In the last few episodes, we got a light-skinned Harriet. On Cosby Show, at the beginning, we really only had Cliff, Rudy, were the two dark-skinned people on that show. And then Vanessa and Theo were basically like lighter brown. Every single new character, besides Bud, who was just here and there, but every single new character was light-skinned. Remember that Lisa Bonet, or Denise, had left the show for a while, but then she came back with her husband, who was a light-skinned brother who was in the Navy, who also had a child from a previous relationship, who she was actually light-skinned as well, the ex-wife. And of course, his daughter was light-skinned, in Olivia, i.e. Raven Simone. And then, of course, Sandra was light-skinned, very light, along with Alvin, her husband. And then they had two light-skinned twins, a boy and a girl. So everyone was light that they added onto that show. Everyone. It is what it is. Now, I think Maxine Shaw from Living Single was on there for a little bit, but I mean, that was maybe like 4 or 5 episodes, if that. But every other main character was light-skinned. I've said before that you can be too black, but you can't be too white. I remember Disney Channel had a lot of so-called black shows during the late 90s, early 2000s, whether it was, Sister Sister, or, Family Guy, not Family Guy, Jesus, Sister Sister, or Smart Guy with Taj Mowry, which was actually a super underrated show. I really liked that one. I had Floyd Henderson, the father, was a single father because his wife had died. That's one of the first times where I noticed Essence Atkins, who seems to be in TV since all day. But that was a solid show. You had Sister Sister, had Smart Guy, you had That's So Raven, you had the animated series Proud Family. It was a lot of black shows back then, so-called black shows back then. And they got rid of all of them. Why? Again, You can't be too white, but you can be too black. That's when they introduced a whole lot of other shows like, Hannah Montana and, Lizzie McGuire and, The Wizards of Waverly Place with Selena Gomez or, I don't know, The Sweet Life of Zach and Kobe, etc., etc. There was, it is what it is. It is what it is. The point and the theme in pretty much all of my videos is we just need our own. That's all. We need our own. Our own TVs, our own movies, our own, car company, our own, schools and banks and hospitals, etc., etc. These things matter. Our own supermarkets, etc. That way we don't have to give all our money to the Caucasian. Everybody's not eating off of us. We need our own military, our own police. We need our own. A lot of these things will be gone. You won't even give a shit about the white police. Why? Because we'll have our own. We would have our own. Imagine going to a class and not seeing a teacher, a white Caucasian teacher, in a classroom full of so-called black kids. Why don't we learn from our own people? We don't like one another. We don't trust one another. We hate on one another. It is what it is. As soon as we get some organization, as soon as we get organized, all of these things will vanish. They just would. Either way, that's enough of this one. See how she stated you're on the fucking floor, bitch? Now, I believe that this was a double meaning, yes, she is physically on the floor, and you can kind of tell she's in a quote-unquote fetal position. And the dark-skinned sister is now above her. She's superior now. She's standing over her. And she said, laugh at me now. Damn. Look at the light-skinned sister on the left. The principal came in and slapped the taste out that girl's mouth.
Have the office call 911 and get the nurse. Everybody in your seat.
Just lay still. Just lay still. Just keep pressure on it.
Dookie, or Daquan, empathizes with the dark-skinned sister. He can tell that she was actually going through something similar that he was going through, not to spoil the series for those who have not seen it, but he comes over to try and, console her or just sit with her. It might seem kind of silly, but I believe that she actually needed that. The sister was mad. For you to pull out a blade and slice the girl's face, yeah, she was hot. By the time he gets to violence, understand that the person is physically, mentally, they're fed up. By the time you push or throw a punch or pull out a blade, a gun, or something of this nature, that person is mentally fatigued. They're done. They're done with all the talking. All right, brothers. Thanks for tuning in. Colorism is definitely a symptom that's plaguing our people. Please look out for that.